Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power and we'll never give it up. Literature that's for the masses. Where to put your money down, now how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You should come read with us. Yeah, we comprehend and discuss. If we all just come together, there's no limit for us. Here comes your host, New Black Wall Street. Evan, take it away. New Black Wall Street. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
All right, good evening to you, beautiful people. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight on the New Black Wall Street Book Club After Dark edition, where we read 30 minutes a night to help keep your everlasting mind right. And tonight we're going to continue our journey into the universe of success. This book is actually going to take a little bit longer than I anticipated because each chapter is, or each lesson is about a two-part lesson. And we're going to be moving into part one of the lesson, How to Grow and Prosper in Your Own Acre of Diamonds. Now, I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified global financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, The Black Bazaar, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. The book that I wrote, guys, a study of Black wealth. It's a study of the 12 richest Black people in the world today. And we're actually going through this book in our New Black Wall Street Book Club, the morning edition. So I'll show you how you can pick up that book and a little bit about it here right now. All right, so I don't know if that came through or not, but anyway, the Black Billionaires Club, you can find it by simply going to the website, theblackbillionairesclub.com, theblackbillionairesclub.com. Pick up your copy today. Again, that's a book that we're going through. We got about 6 copies left. So if you want to get a book for yourself to introduce you to wealth and begin to teach your children about wealth, if it's important to you, simply pick it up. Let's do the roll call right now. And then I got a few things I want to share with you guys, but let's find out who's here with us tonight. Go and let us know what city, what state, what country, what city, what state you might be connecting from. Also hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button, the follow button, all the good stuff as well. I want to shout out to our brothers and sisters from ERGJ, my personal page, also ERGJ Enterprises, our business page, BBC TV if you are over there. Financial Health Mentor, we've been seeing a lot of the members or the supporters of Financial Health Mentor lately. BBC is in the house as well as YouTube as well. We're broadcasting across the World Wide Web and YouTube and also Facebook. Understand that worldwide simply means global, and we have brothers and sisters that tune in to our show from all over the world. So just love to know how far our reach is here this evening. Go and let us know who is here. Also, what city, what state you might be connecting from. Go ahead and say hello. We got 17 people watching. Don't be shy. Say hello. There may be some people that hit the replay button and watch us a little bit later as well. But if you're going to be here, you might as well speak. You might as well say hello, because we're going to get right into this thing here tonight at the University of Success by Mandino here on the New Black Wall Street Book Club After Dark. What's going on with you? Miss Vivian Reed has joined us as well here from Brooklyn, New York. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight, Miss Amanda Hollingsworth, my sister joining us from Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks so much. Financial Health Mentor team member, what's going on? DJ Miley. Nice to meet you, Queen. How are you? Thanks so much for joining us here today out at Atlanta. Fergie Hunter. Now, your name doesn't change, Fergie, but nonetheless, you are here from Detroit. Go ahead and let us know anybody else that's connecting with us as well. Now, let me tell you a little bit about how this works tonight. It's really a time for you to get something tonight. And we found, as we've been reading at night, it's a little bit different from reading in the morning. In the morning, you get up, you're moving around. You might do your little reading in the morning to kind of get motivated, get inspired. But at night, when you're winding down, we're reading to capture some moments. And what we found is that we begin to speak to this thing called our subconscious. And our subconscious activates. It activates and begins to capture things that we would have normally forgot, normally overlooked. And it brings us back to our attention. And these are some of the testimonies that we've had funneling through on the New Black Wall Street Book Club After Dark, which is why we're going to keep doing it. It's become very popular because people are actually changing, because they are not changing like they're changing indirectly. They're changing not voluntarily. Their mind is changing, so therefore it's changing them. And so tonight, I will hope that you have a pen and paper so that you can capture. Everybody put in console capture. Also, I'm going to do something a little different tonight. I'm not going to coerce you to take your own notes. If you want it, you'll go get it. If it's for you, you'll make sure that you grab it. Now, what I recommend is that you use the keyboard as your journal. You're right here. You got it right in front of your face. The keyboard on your phone, the keyboard on your laptop. If I were you, because you know why I say that? Because the type of brother that I am, I really want it. So my question to you is, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want your life to change? How bad do you want your life to get better? How bad do you want abundance? How bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough not just to show up? That's the hard part. Showing up is the hard part for people. But there's a step after showing up. And that's called participate. That's called engage. And for a brother or sister to have to be coerced to engage, to me, I'm now realizing that's a problem. How bad do you want it? What's up, Felicia Tate out of DC? So I'm not going to be coercing you tonight. No. We're going to go through our 30 minutes. Whatever it is that you're supposed to get, hopefully you get it. So you can keep moving, progressing forward in this thing called life. I got my music going on. I'm sorry, guys. Let me hit the little, I was jamming earlier, guys. I was jamming earlier. What's going on with you, Miss Monet Sanders, my mentee? Thanks so much for joining. Peace to you, Mr. Hugh F. Little. That's right. Capture right. Natural note take. Okay, DJ said she ready. She said she ready to get this. She ready to get this, man. Let's get right into this thing, man. We are going to start our journey into lesson number 10. I'll show you guys the book, The University of Success. Now, here's the interesting thing. I only know one person, two people, who went out and got this book. I only know two. After I got it, I announced it, let people know, man, I found this gem. And we started right into the New Black Wall Street Book Club After Dark series with the University of Success. I've only seen two people go get the book. Now, of course, you could have the PDF, or you could have, I don't know, some type of ebook. I don't know what you might got. I only know two people who showed that they have the book. And then we wonder what the problems are. The good shit that we should have, we don't go get. You know, when I went and got this book, it's pretty simple. As soon as I heard about it. You know what I mean? How soon other people go get the book? Never. Now, you don't necessarily have to necessarily get the book because we're going to be reading it, but it might be helpful. Might be. But that is a personal decision. That's totally up to you. You spend your money where you want. I've learned how to invest my money. I've learned how to go out and get stuff that brings me greater value. And I found one of the greatest values I could ever get out of life, this life, is a good book. So I'll invest my $10 to get a good book that'll return to me $10,000. Most of you won't. I'll invest the $5 into the good book that'll change the way that I think so that I can go get $5,000. Most of you won't. Most of you simply won't. Have the same decisions that we can make in our life, but most simply choose not to. They just simply choose not to. And they wonder why they live the life that they live. They have the problems in their life that they have, why they broke, busted, and disgusted, because they simply choose not to. But I don't want you to be that person tonight. It may not be that you go get this book tonight. I could care less. No money coming in my pocket if you do this, if you do that. But I want you to be the person tonight that chooses to grab everything that you can grab out of whatever the words on this paper that I'm going to read to you tonight. I want you to choose to Get everything. I want you to choose to squeeze every juice out of this orange. I want you to choose to, instead of being a person who chooses not to. But notice that word choose. It's a personal decision. And based upon what you choose, you get personal results. So what am I saying to you tonight? It's personal. It's personal. Here's our quote that gets us started. We're going to be going, I normally go for 30 minutes. That mean that we would go to 9:30, but I didn't start reading until 9:10. So we're going to go to 9:40, 30 minutes a day to keep broke and stupid away. Many of us spend our lives searching for success when it is usually so close that we can reach out and touch it. Many of us spend our lives searching for success when it is usually so close that we can reach out and touch it. Now, you might have heard this author before, Russell Conwell. He's the one that wrote the book, The Acres of Diamonds, another great book that talks about getting to success. And I believe that's what we're going through here tonight as we begin part one of how to grow and prosper in your own acre of diamonds. The lecture you're about to hear is one of the all-time classic pieces of success material. First delivered at a reunion of his old Civil War comrades, Russell H. Conwell went on to give the speech Acres of Diamonds. More than 5,000 times, the enthralled audiences across the nation earning for his efforts several $1 million with which he founded Temple University. Russell H. Conwell founded Temple University. No one is better qualified to introduce what is to come than the man himself. This lecture has been delivered under these circumstances. I visited a town or city and tried to arrive there early enough to see the postmaster, the barber, the keeper of the hotel, the principal of the schools, and the ministers of some of the churches, and then go into some of the factories and stores and talk with the people and get into sympathy with the local conditions of that town or city and see what has been their history, what opportunities they had, and what they had failed to do, and every town fails to do something. And then go to the lecture and talk to those people about the subjects which apply to their locality. The idea. Maybe I am going to put some stuff down there. Everybody put down the idea. I just going to keep being me. The idea. Everybody put it down the idea. The idea. Oh, y'all in some trouble tonight. I got my water. Woo, I got my H2O. The idea. The idea, Acres of Diamonds, has continuously been precisely the same. The idea is that in this country of ours, everyone has the opportunity to make more of himself in his own environment, with his own skill, with his own energy, and with his own friends. Everybody put in console my own. In this country, the United States of America, everyone has the opportunity to make more of himself or herself in his own environment. Are you running away from your own shit? With his own skill? Are you running away from the gifts that God has given to you? With his own energy? Are you running away from your own vitality? With his own friends? Do you even recognize who your real friends are? Everyone has the opportunity to make for himself or herself in his own environment where you live. With his own skills, your talents and abilities given to you by God. With your own energy. Stop trying to steal energy from others because you lack energy. Whatever little bit of energy you got, do something with it. And with his own friends. I think that's the biggest part. Some of you guys mistake enemies for friends. And you mistake friends for enemies. Discernment is what that's called in the Bible. Being able to discern who is for you and who is not. And I've gotten to the point in my life, and I hope some of you get to this point. I don't give a fuck about anybody who don't give a fuck about me. And seeing and recognizing who don't give a fuck about you is fairly easy once you start paying what people do instead of what people say. Just start paying attention to what they do. Watch. Instead of listening to their false words that come from their heart, which is wicked. Once you begin to pay attention to what people do, actions speak louder than words, but you've let words be louder than actions. And you wonder why you're confused. You wonder why you can't figure out left from right. You wonder why you can't really discern or recognize who got your back and who ain't got shit. Oh, it must be after dark because I'm cussing now. I mean, I must be the cussing teacher. As you can see, our faculty at the University of Success has no mandatory retirement age. Success you are about to learn from an immortal is probably right under your nose. When going down the Tigris and Euphrates rivers many years ago with a party of English travelers, I found myself under the direction of an old Arab guide who we hired up at Baghdad. And I've often thought how the guide resembled our barbers in certain mental characteristics. He thought that it was not only his duty to guide us down those rivers and do what he was paid for doing, but also to entertain us with stories curious and weird, ancient and modern, strange and familiar. Many of them I have forgotten, and I'm glad I have. But there's one I shall never forget. The old guide was leading my camel by its halter along the banks of those ancient rivers, and he told me story after story until I grew weary of his storytelling and ceased to listen. He kept on talking. I was like, God damn, can you shut up? I've never been irritated with that guy when he lost his temper as I ceased listening, but I remember that he took off his Turkish cap and swung it in a circle to get my attention. I could see it through the corner of my eye. But I was determined not to look straight at him for fear he would tell another story. I did finally look, and as soon as I did, he went right into another story. Said he, I will tell you a story now, which I reserve for my particular friends. When he emphasized the words particular friends, I listened. And I have ever been glad I did. I really feel devoutly thankful that there are 1,674 young men who have been carried through college by this lecture who are also glad that I did listen. The old guy told me there once lived not far from the river Indus an ancient Persian by the name of Ali Hafed. He said that Ali Hafed owned a very large farm and that he had orchards, grain fields, and gardens. And he had money at interest and was a wealthy and content man, a very wealthy man who owned some stuff. He was contented because he was wealthy, and wealthy because he was contented. Uh-oh, that's pretty big. He was wealthy because he was content, and he was content because he was wealthy. Or he was content because he was wealthy, and he was wealthy because he was content. Is there some connection between your wealth and your contentment? Is there some connection between your wealth or lack thereof and your contentment or lack thereof? Now, some of you are probably saying, I might need to look up this word content. Well, there's a good dictionary out there. You can go look it up and find exactly what that might mean. That might be helpful. I ain't gonna do everything for you. That ain't my job. Your job is to do everything for you, not me. One day there visited the old Persian farmer, one of those ancient Buddha priests, one of the wise men of the East. He sat down by the fire and told the old farmer how this world of ours was made. He said that this world was one of a mere bank of fog, and that the Almighty thrust his finger into this bank of fog and began slowly to move his finger around, increasing the speed until at last he whirled this bank of fog into a solid ball of fire. Then it went rolling through the universe, burning its way through the other banks of fog and condensed the moisture without until it fell in floods of rain upon its hot surface and cooled the outward crust. Then the internal fires bursting outward through the crust threw up the mountains and hills, the valleys, the plains, and the prairies of this wonderful world of ours. If this internal molten mass came bursting out and cooled very quickly, it became granite. Less quickly, copper. Less quickly, silver. Less quickly, gold. And after gold, diamonds were made. Said the old priest, a diamond is a congealed drop of sunlight. Now, that is literally scientifically true, that a diamond is an actual deposit of carbon from the sun. The old priest told Ali Hafed that if he had one diamond the size of his thumb, he could purchase the county. And if he had a mine of diamonds, he could place his children upon thrones through the influence of their great wealth. Ali Hafed heard all about diamonds and how much they were worth and went to his bed that night a poor man. He had not lost anything, but he was poor because he was discontent. And discontent because he feared he was poor. He said, I want a mine of diamonds. And he lay awake all night. Now, notice this. Ali Hafed, before he had the conversation with the priest, he was content because he was wealthy, and he was wealthy because he was content. But then after he had the conversation with the old priest about the diamonds, his mindset changed from one of wealth to one of poverty. And he was poor because he became discontent. Discontent meaning that he no longer felt he had what was necessary in his life. So he felt like he was missing something, although he clearly already had whatever it is he needed. So discontent or content itself seems to be nothing more than a feeling, because feelings change just like that. He changed the way that he felt based upon a story that he heard. He was poor because he was discontent, and discontent because he feared he was poor. You see what fear can do to you? You see what fear, this is all fear. He had faith earlier. Now he walked into the land of fear. And it came from what he wanted, discontent, not from what he already had, content. How many of you guys let's be honest tonight. How many of you guys may be overlooking what you have, trying to get what you want? Discontent. Now, the pursuing of after that which you want is actually a good thing, but not in lieu of, not in spite of what you already have, what's already been given to you. Is it possible that you're operating in a space of discontent because you don't feel like you got what you should have? When the truth of the matter, more than likely, is you have everything you need. Let me help you out tonight. Go ahead and put in the comments, so I got everything I need. See, that's a part of what we say at the end of every show. We all we got, and we all we need. And that's enough. Why? Because we are content. And in our contentment, we have wealth already in us, already with us. And we've been given the power to create more wealth. But it's very difficult to be creative and discontent at the same time. I got everything I need. Do I want more? Hell yeah, why not? I should want more. There's more available. Hell yeah, I want more. But that does not mean that I don't have what I need. Content. Ali Hafed heard about the diamonds, and I want my mine of diamonds healed away, so now he wanted something new, right? Early in the morning, he sought out the priest. I know by experience that a priest is very cross when awakened early in the morning. And when he shook up that old priest out of his dreams, Ali Hafed said to him, will you tell me where I can find diamonds? Where I can find diamonds. Miss Vivian Reed, content and grateful, pretty much the same thing. Diamonds, what do you want with diamonds? Why I wish to be immensely rich. Well, then go along and find them. That is all you have to do. Go and find them. And then you have them. But I don't know where to go. Well, if you will find a river that runs through white sands between high mountains, and those white sands, you will always find diamonds. I don't believe there is any such river. Oh, yes, there are plenty of them. All you have to do is go and find them, and then you have them. Said Ali Hafed, I will go. Everybody put in console, go and find them. Seeking, you'll find. That's a biblical principle. You say you want something. You say you want to find something. You say that you really want to have something. Go and find it. There's nothing new under the sun. Everything is available to you. Now you got easier access than you ever had in this lifetime, in this world. Go and find it. Then you can't go to the person who knows where to find the shit, then say, I don't believe. You heard what he said? I don't believe there is any such river. Well, you might as well not go looking for diamonds, because you just simply went back to fear that you don't believe anyway. So why are we still having this conversation? I stopped talking to people who don't believe. All you can do is pray for them. Well, Lord, they don't believe. That's not that. We ain't supposed to be hanging around each other. We're not like-minded people. But Lord, I believe that you can help them. So good Lord, please, right? Please do all you can to help their unbelief. My Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Give us all something to eat. And forgive us of our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever. Lord, they disbelief ain't got nothing to do with me, but I'm going to pray that you would help their unbelief. Go and find it. See, this Ali Hafed, he jacked up. This is a jacked up joker right here. Right? He jacked up. He don't know what. Once he got into fear, once he got into discontentment, his mind is all over the place. His mind is all over the place. And here's what I found, guys. Here's a simple, true statement for 90 to 95% of the people on this planet. They simply won't go. They simply won't seek. They simply won't ask. They simply won't knock. Even in this dream, plenty of you talk the good talk, but don't walk the good walk. Let me say that again. Even in this stream, and you're the cream of the crop. You're not the bottom of the barrel people. Bottom of the barrel people don't have time for something like this. No, you're the cream of the crop. And even amongst those that are here right now, you still talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. Now, of course, it's not everybody. I'm not saying everybody. But this is the law of averages. And the truth is found in your life. The truth is found in your results. Talk the good talk, but won't walk the good walk. Let me give you an example. So some of you guys know I'm a certified global financial educator. I teach people, Black people particularly, how to make their money work harder for them than they work for it. I put a video out every fucking day for the past 10 years, for the past 5 years. If we do the math on that, we say, okay, that's roughly every day, other than maybe weekends, that's roughly 300 videos a year for 5 years. 300 times 5, that's 1,500 videos. Free videos I put out to help Black people learn how to make their money work harder for them than they work for it over the past 5 years. How many people that talked about wanting to get rich, that talked about wanting to improve their income, how many do you think took the time to watch one video? Free. Been doing it for free for years. This just goes to show you, even for free, you can't help someone who refuses to help themselves. A click of a button, available to you. All you got to do is seek and find it. It may not pop right up on your screen every day. And you would not be surprised. I thought that you would be surprised, but you would not be surprised. How many people simply chose not to? The money off the table is free. I just want to help my people. I don't need your money. I know how to grow money. But you can't make the time to click a button to watch something that could change your financial life forever. Now, who's that on? Is that white supremacy? Is that racism? Is that the government? Is that TV? Please give me the good excuse of talking the good talk, but not walking the good walk. So Ms. Vivian Reed, no, you can't speak for everybody, nor should you speak for everybody. You got to save yourself. You better start worrying about everybody else. You better start worrying about you. You got to save yourself. Everybody put in console, save myself. You got to save yourself. You have to save yourself. And I'm here to share a message with you right now. You better stop thinking that you got time. Time is not in your hands. You do not control time. Today is all you got. You better make the best of it, because this might be the last you got. You keep putting your concern on everybody else and what they are or not doing, you lose focus on what you should be doing for you, to save you, then to save your children, then to save your community. Diamonds. He sold his farm, collected his money, left his family in a charge for a neighbor, and away he went in search of diamonds. He went and started looking for them. He began his search very properly, to my mind, at the mountains of the moon. Afterward, he came around into Palestine, then wandered on into Europe, and at last, when his money was all spent and he was in rags, wretchedness, and poverty, he stood on the shore of that bay of Barcelona in Spain, when a great tidal wave came rolling in between the pillars of Hercules, and the poor, afflicted, suffering, dying man could not resist the awful temptation to cast himself into that incoming tide. And he sank beneath its foaming crest, never to rise in life again. Killed himself. He couldn't resist the temptation to kill himself. When that old guy that told me that awfully sad story, he stopped the camel I was riding on and went back to fix the baggage that was coming off another camel. And I had an opportunity to muse over his story while he was gone. I remember saying to myself, why did he reserve that story for his particular friend? There seemed to be no beginning, no middle, no end, nothing to it. That was the first story I had ever heard told in my life, and would be the first one I ever read in which the hero was killed in the first chapter. I had but one chapter of that story, and the hero was dead. When the guy came back and took up the halter of my camel, he went right ahead with the story into the second chapter, just as though there had been no break. The man who purchased Ali Hafed's farm one day led his camel into the garden to drink. And as that camel put his nose into the shallow water of that garden brook, Ali Hafed's successor noticed a curious flash of light from the white sands of the stream. He pulled out a black stone having an eye of light reflecting all the hues of the rainbow. He took the pebble into the house and put it on the mantle which covers the central fires and forgot all about it. A few days later, this same old priest came in to visit Ali Hafed's successor. And the moment he opened that drawing room door, he saw the flash of light on the mantle. And he rushed up to it and shouted, "Here is a diamond." Has Ali Hafed returned? Oh no, Ali Hafed has not returned, and that is not a diamond. That is nothing but a stone we found right out here in our own garden. But, said the priest, I tell you, I know a diamond when I see it. I know positively that is a diamond. No, what's going on? No excuses at all, Frank. Henry Coleman, what's going on? Save myself. Save myself. That's right, Alva. Save myself. Felicia Tate, save myself. Absolutely. You didn't expect that ending. We ain't at the end yet. Hey, save myself. Absolutely. Then together they rushed out into that old garden and stirred up the white sands. Remember the white sands? With their fingers. And lo, there came up other more beautiful and valuable gems than the first. Thus, said the guide to me and friends, and it is historically true, was discovered the diamond mine of Golconda, the most magnificent diamond mine in all the history of humanity, excelling the Kimberley itself, and Koh-i-Noor, and the Orloff of the crown jewels of England and Russia, and the largest on earth, came from that mine. When that old Arab guide told me the second chapter of his story, he then took off his kerchief cap and swung it around in the air again to get my attention. To the moral. Those Arab guys have morals to their stories. Although they're not always moral, as he swung his hat and said to me, had Ali Hafed remained at home and dug his own cellar, or underneath his own wheat fields, everybody put in comments, so my own, or in his own garden, instead of wretchedness and starvation and death by suicide in a strange land, he would have had acres of diamonds. For every acre of that old farm, yes, every shovel field afterward revealed gems which since have decorated the crowns of monarchs. When he had added the moral to the story, I saw why he reserved it for his particular friends. Now, I believe tonight, this old priest considers us his particular friends. I believe tonight he's written something that only his particular friends would find. Very similar to what we find in this book called the Bible, that only God's particular friends find what he has written. I don't consider it a coincidence that you are here listening right now live, or you have caught the replay, because you just might be a particular friend. And this was your night to discover a particular story that can help save you from yourself and begin to focus on your own shit instead of keeping your mind, your thoughts on everybody else's shit, which ain't much. But I did not tell him I could see it. It was that mean old Arab's way of going around the thing like a lawyer to say indirectly what he did not dare to say directly. That in his private opinion, there was a certain young man when traveling down the Tigris River who might better be at home than better be at home than in America. It did not tell him I could see that. I did not tell him I could see that, but I told him a story reminded me of one. And I told it to him quick, and I think I will tell it to you. I told him of a man out in California in 1847 who owned a ranch. He heard they had discovered a gold in Southern California, and so with a passion for gold, he sold his ranch to Colonel Suter upon a stream that ran through that ranch. And one day his little girl brought some wet sand from the raceway into their home, and hold on. He sold his ranch to Colonel Suter, and away he went, never to come back. Another story where someone owned some shit and they sold it. Colonel Suter put a mill upon a stream that ran through that ranch, and one day his little girl brought some wet sand from the raceway into their home and sifted it through her fingers before the fire. And in that falling sand, a visitor saw the first shining scales of real gold that were ever discovered in California. The man who had owned that ranch wanted gold, and he could have secured it for the mere taking. Indeed, $38 million had been taken out of a very few acres since then. About 8 years ago, I delivered this lecture in the city that stands on that farm, and they told me that a one-third owner for years and years has been getting $120 in gold every 15 minutes, sleeping or waking without taxation. You and I would enjoy an income like that if we didn't have to pay an income tax. But a better illustration really than that occurred here in our own Pennsylvania. This is the third story for our particular friends. If there is anything I enjoy above another on the platform, it is to get one of these German audiences in Pennsylvania before me to fire that at them. And I enjoy it tonight. There was a man living in Pennsylvania, not unlike some Pennsylvanians you have seen, who owned a farm, his own shit. And he did with that farm just what I should do with a farm if I own one in Pennsylvania. He sold it. But before he sold it, he decided to secure employment collecting coal oil for his cousin, who was in business in Canada, where they first discovered oil on this continent. They dipped it from the running streams of that early time. So this Pennsylvania farmer wrote to his cousin asking for employment. You see, friends, this farmer was not altogether foolish, man. No, he was not. He did not leave his farm until he had something else to do. Of all the simpletons the stars shine on, I don't know of a worse one than the man who leaves one job before he's got another. That has a special reference to my profession and has no reference whatsoever to a man seeking a divorce. When he wrote to his cousin for employment, his cousin replied, "I cannot engage you because you know nothing about the oil business." Well, then the old farmer said, "I will know." And with the most commendable zeal characteristic of the students of Temple University, he set himself to study the whole subject. He began away back at the second day of God's creation when this world was turned to the primitive beds of coal. He studied the subject until he found that the drainings really are those rich beds of coal furnished the coal oil that was worth pumping. And then he found how he came up with the living springs. He studied until he knew what it looked like. He studied until he knew what it looked like, smelled like, tasted like, and how to refine it. Now he said in his letter to his cousin, "I understand the oil business." His cousin answered, "Well, all right, come on." So he sold his farm. Began, according to the county records, for $833, even money, no sense. He had scarcely gone from that place before the man who purchased the spot went out to arrange for the watering of the cattle. He found the previous owner had gone out years before and put a plank across the brook back of the barn, edgewise into the surface of the water just a few inches. The purpose of that plank at that sharp angle across the brook was to throw over to the other bank a dreadful looking scum through which the cattle would not put their noses. But with that plank there to throw it all over to one side, the cattle would drink below. And thus the man who had gone to Canada had been himself damming back for 23 years of flood of coal oil, which the state geologist of Pennsylvania declared to us 10 years later was even then worth $100 million to our state. And 4 years ago, our geologist declared the discovery to be worth to our state $1,000 million. The man who owned that territory in which the city of Titusville now stands and those Pleasantville valleys had studied the subject from the second day of God's creation clear down to the present time. He studied it until he knew all about it. And yet, he is said to have sold the whole of it for $833. And again, I say, no sense. How is it that you study something and know all about it and don't even recognize it because it's in your own garden, it's in your own farm? You studied it, but still can't see it. You have eyes to see, but can't see, the book says. You're going to look for something that's right under your nose. And as I come here tonight and look around this audience, I am seeing again what through these 50 years that I have continually seen. Men who are making precisely that same mistake. Women who are making precisely that same mistake. How many guys, let's be honest tonight. How many of you guys keep going from job to job? Keep going from city to city. Keep going from college to college. Keep going from state to state. Keep going from country to country looking for something. Not realizing that what you're looking for is right under your nose. It took me years to figure out. I didn't have to look far. It took me years to discover and to understand that I have everything that I need. But it's nothing wrong with searching, but it's about where you are searching to. I'm telling you, beautiful people, life is not that complicated. It's really rather simple. Read, comprehend, do, repeat. Read, comprehend, do, repeat. And you will live the life that no one else can live, because no one else will be able to afford to live that life. Read, comprehend, do, repeat. Now, one of the hardest things in that 3 simple steps to living your best life is comprehend. I mean, one of the hardest things to do is just simply read. Take out 30 minutes a day, pick up a book, not just any book, pick up a good book that can change your life and read it. Comprehend, to begin to understand. The good book talks so much about understanding. With all thy getting, get wisdom, get understanding. With all thy getting, get wisdom. But it says, get wisdom, get understanding. It also tells us that our people perish for lack of knowledge. Understanding, comprehend what you read. That requires study, by the way. You can put study in there too. Read, study, do. But comprehension, I said that word for a very big reason. How many guys know people who read something and you be like, what did it mean? They be like, I don't really know what it means, but I read it. Well, you ain't finished reading because you didn't get it yet. I often wish I could see the younger people And would that the academy had been filled tonight with our high school scholars and our grammar school scholars that I could have helped them to talk to. Why I would have preferred such an audience as that? Because they are more susceptible, as they have not grown up into their prejudices as we have. They have not gotten into any custom that they cannot break. They have not met with any failures as we have. And while I could perhaps do such an audience as that more good than I can do grown-up people, yet I will do my best, the best I can with the material I have. And I say to you that you have acres of diamonds in Philadelphia, right where you now live. Oh, but you will say you cannot know how much your city if you think there are any acres of diamonds here. I was greatly interested in that account in the newspaper of the young man who found that diamond in North Carolina. It was one of the purest diamonds that had ever been discovered, and it had several predecessors near the same locality. I went to a distinguished professor in mineralogy and asked him where he thought those diamonds came from. The professor secured the map on the geologic formations of our continent and traced it. He said it went either through the underlying carboniferous strata adapted for such production westward through Ohio and the Mississippi, or in our probability came eastward through Virginia and up the shore of the Atlantic Ocean. It is the fact that the diamonds were there, for they have been discovered and sold, and that they were carried down during the drift period from some northern locality. Now, who can say but some person going down with this drill in Philadelphia will find some trace of diamond mine yet down there? Oh, friends, you cannot say that you are not over one of the greatest diamond mines in the world, for such a diamond as that only comes from the most profitable mines that are found on earth. But it serves simply to illustrate my thought, which I emphasize by saying, if you do not have the actual diamond mines literally, you have all that they would be good for to you. Because now the Queen of England has given the greatest compliment ever conferred upon American women for her attire, because she did not appear with any jewels at all at the late reception in England. It has also done away with the use of diamonds anyhow. All you would care for would be the few you would wear if you wish to be modest, and the rest you would sell for money. Now, then, I say again that the opportunity to get rich, to attain to great wealth, is here in Philadelphia now, within the reach of almost every man and woman who hears me speak tonight. And I mean just what I say. I have not come to this platform, even under these circumstances, to recite something to you. I've come to tell you what is in God's sight I believe to be the truth. And if the years of life have been of any value to me in the attainment of common sense, I know I am right, that the men and women sitting here who found it difficult perhaps to buy a ticket to this lecture or gathering tonight have within their reach acres of diamonds, opportunities to get largely wealthy. There never was a place on earth more adapted than the city of Philadelphia today. And never in history of the world did a poor man without capital have such an opportunity to get rich quickly and honestly as he has now in our city. I say it is the truth, and I want you to accept it as such. For if you think I have come to simply recite something, then I would better not be here. But you will say, you cannot do anything of the kind. You cannot start without capital. Young man, let me illustrate to you for a moment. I must do it. It is my duty to every young man and woman, because we are all going into business very soon on the same plan. Young man, remember, if you know what people need, you have gotten more knowledge of a fortune than any amount of capital can ever give you. What's up, Quabe? What do you mean by money talk? If this ain't money talk, then I think you might need to go somewhere and realize where money talk is being had. I don't know if you're saying that or not, brother. Listen to what he just said. If you know what people need, everybody put in console, study people. If you know what people need, you've gotten more knowledge of a fortune than any amount of capital can give you. Thank you so much, Alvin. That's why I'm keep going. I'm almost at the end, so we might as well finish it. This is gonna be longer than 30 minutes. We'll make it up. somewhere else. Well, we're gonna get this in. If you know what people need, you have more knowledge of a fortune than any amount of capital can give you. You want to know how I got rich? I simply study people. Just that simple. I find out what people need and I provide it. I find out what people want and I give it to them. I care less what I think they need because people don't buy what they need. People buy what they want. If people just simply did what they need, we wouldn't have broke people. We would still have some poor people, but we wouldn't have the vast amount of broke people that we have in our life. You know why? Because they would take care of their needs first and get their wants later. That's a simple financial literacy principle that leads to wealth. But that's not what people do. But you would know that if you study people. I got you, Quave. We good. I hope I'm saying it right, brother. We good, man. Yeah, this is Money Talk, so I got you. I got you, brother. I'm telling you, it's not that difficult. It really isn't. You can make it difficult. You can make it more difficult than it got to be. People show you every day what they want to spend their money on. The question is, are you offering? Are you providing the shit that people want to spend their money on? So they spend their money with you. And then do you take the money that you have now gained from the people who got the money, spending their money on bullshit, and then turn around and learn how to make that money work harder for you, you work for it, so you never have to deal with income again. Money will never be a problem in your life if you just simply do those 2-3 things that I just talked to you about. But guess how many people will do it? Studying takes too much time. It takes too much effort. A book tells us to study to show ourselves approved. Well, maybe you ain't showed yourself approved of money yet. Maybe you ain't showed yourself approved of wealth. Maybe you ain't showed yourself approved of prosperity because you simply won't study. So there was a poor man out of working living in Hingham, Massachusetts. He lounged around the house until one day his wife told him to get out and work. And as he lived in Massachusetts, he obeyed his wife. He went out and sat down on the shore of the bay and whittled a soaked shingle into a wooden chain. His children that evening quarreled over it, and he whittled a second one to keep peace. While he was whittling the second one, a neighbor came in and said, "Why don't you whittle toys and sell them? You can make money on that." "Oh," he said, I would not know what to make." Why don't you ask your own children right here in your own house what to make?" "Well, what is the use of trying that?" said the carpenter. "My children are different from other people's children. I used to see people like that when I taught school." But he acted upon the hint. And the next morning when Mary came down the stairway, he asked, "What do you want from a toy?" She began to tell him she would like a doll's bed and a doll's washstand, a doll's carriage, a little doll's umbrella, and went on with a list of things that would take him a lifetime to supply. So consulting with his own children in his own house, he took the firewood and he had no money to buy lumber and whittled those strong unpainted Hingham toys that were for so many years known all over the world. The man began to make those toys for his own children and then made copies and sold them through the boot and shoe store next door. He began to make a little money and then a little more. And Mr. Lawson, in his frenzied finance, says that man is the richest man in old Massachusetts. And I think it is the truth. That man is worth $100 million today and has been only 34 years making it on the one principle. Though that one must judge that what his own children like at home, other people's children would like it in their homes too. To judge the human heart by oneself, by one's wife, or by one's children, it is the royal road to success in manufacturing. Oh, but you say, didn't he have any capital? Yes, a penknife, but I don't know what he paid for that. Let me repeat this again. This principle. a principle that to judge that with his own, we keep coming back to your own, his own children, what his own children like at home, other people's children would like in their homes too. There's nothing new under the sun. It is the royal road of success in manufacturing, right? To judge the human heart by oneself, to judge the human heart by one's wife, or to judge the human heart by one's own children. You know how you start studying people? By studying yourself. By studying yourself. When I began to think about all the shit that I used to spend my money on that didn't make sense, it became easy for me to realize what other people spend their money on that don't make sense. And it don't have to make sense. It's their money. They gonna do with it what they want to do with it. I just have to put myself in position to collect. Everybody put in console #collect. I spoke thus to an audience in New Britain, Connecticut, and a woman 4 seats back went home and tried to take off her collar. And the collar button stuck in the buttonhole. She threw it out and said, "I'm going to get something better than that to put on collars." The husband said, after what Conwell said tonight, "You see, there's a need for an improved collar fastener that is easier to handle. There's a human need. There's a great fortune. Now then, get up a collar button and get rich." He made fun of her and subsequently made fun of me. And that is one of the saddest things which comes over me like a deep cloud of mindset of midnight sometimes. Although I've worked so hard for more than a century, yet how little I have ever really done. Notwithstanding the greatness and the handsomeness of your compliment tonight, I do not believe there is 1 in 10 of you who is going to make millions of dollars because you are here tonight. But it's not my fault, it is yours. I say that sincerely. What is the use of my talking if people never do what I advise them to do? What is the use of me talking if people never do what I advise them to do? In this one statement, you begin to understand why teachers get quiet. I begin to understand why some of the great teachers get quiet. You know, and this is starting to happen right now. You know, I still do videos, but now I do videos in silence. What's the use of me talking if people never do what I advise them to do? What's the use of you talking if people never do what you advise them to do? So now I provide quiet videos. Why waste my breath with people who won't do what I advise them to do anything? Anyway, what's the point? I might as well save my breath for my life. When her husband ridiculed her, she made up her mind she would make a better collar button. And when a person makes up in her mind, she will, and does not say anything about it. She does it. It was that New England woman who invented the snap button, which you can find anywhere now. It was the first of a collar button with a spring cap attached to the outer side. All of you wear modern waterproofs now know the button that simply pushes together. And when you unbutton it, you simply pull it apart. That is the button to which I refer, which she invented. She afterward invented several other buttons and invested in more, and then was taken into partnership with great factories. Now that woman goes overseas every summer in her private steamship, yes, and takes her husband with her. If her husband were to die, she would have money enough left now to buy a foreign duke or count or some rich title as the latest quotations. Now, what is my lesson in that incident? It is this. I told her then, though I did not know her, what I now say to you, your wealth is too near to you. You are looking right over it. What I now say to you, your wealth is too near to you. You are looking right over it. What I say to you right now is that your wealth is too near to you. You're looking right over it. What I say to you right now, your wealth is too near to you. Everybody put in comments, my wealth is too close. It's too close. I'm simply looking over it. My wealth is too close. I'm simply overlooking it. My wealth is too close. It's too close. I'm simply overlooking it. And she had to look over. She had to look over it. She had to look over it because it was right under her chin. Who are the great inventors of the world? Again, this lesson comes before us. The great inventor sits next to you, and you are the person yourself. Oh, but you will say, I've never invented anything in my life. Neither did the great inventors until they discovered one great secret. Do you think it is a man with a head like a bushel measure or a man like a stroke of lightning? It is neither. The really great man is a plain, straightforward, everyday, common sense man. You would not dream that he was a great inventor if you did not see something he had actually done. His neighbors do not regard him so great. You never see anything great over your back fence. You say there is no greatness among your neighbors. It is all a way off. It is all a way off somewhere else. Their greatness is ever so simple, so plain, so earnest, so practical that the neighbors and friends never recognize it. Greatness consists not in the holding of some future office, but really consists in doing great deeds with little means and the accomplishments of vast purposes from the private ranks of life. To be great at all, one must be great here, now, in Philadelphia. He can give to the city better streets and better sidewalks, better schools and more colleges, more happiness and more civilization, more of God. He will be great anywhere. Let every man or woman hear if you never hear me again. Remember this, that if you wish to be great at all, you must begin where you are and what you are, in Philadelphia, now. He who gives to the city any blessing, he who can be a good citizen while he lives here, he can make better homes. He can be a blessing whether he works in a shop or sits behind a counter or keeps house. Whatever be his life, he would be great anywhere. Must first be great in his own Philadelphia. Remember this, that if you wish to be great at all, you must begin where you are and what you are. This is the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where Black folk do read. A little bit longer than 30 minutes a day, but 30 minutes a night to keep your everlasting mind right. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified global financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, The Black Bazaar, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. And I'll tell you what really stuck out to me was the mere fact that he said, what is the use of my talking if people never do what I advise them to do? You talk about a subconscious thought that'll be burning in my spirit tonight. What is the use of me talking? Some 200 some odd supporters that's paying $5 a month think I need their money. What is the use of me talking? Some 150 subscribers, BBC members that refuse to do what I advise them to do. What is the use of me talking to people? If people never do what I advise them to do. I want you guys to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we really need. Thank God, that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. It's the DJ. Hits the music.
New black. It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club. With your host, Evan Jefferson. It's time for us to go. Yeah. Now, you ain't got to leave the computer, but we encourage you to get out there and learn and apply All the things you learn at the new Black Wall Street. Book club, book club. Yeah. The new Black Wall Street. The new Black Wall Street. Book club, book club.